my name is Sara. I'm part of the Fire and Spirit Reiki Practitioners for Peace. I have trained in Reiki through level 2. I'll be taking my level 3 training in 2 weekends. So I'm very excited about that. Learning more. There's always so much to learn, just like with the world of tea. I studied with Anna, who is the owner of Fire and Spirit. She's lovely. And what we're going to be covering tonight in this session, this is the last of our 6 session series, where we've been exploring the Reiki precepts as and combining them with Cha Dao meaning the way of tea. And I always say that's way with a capital W. So Cha Dao is a way of using tea, the brewing of tea, a study of tea, of its history, um, all the different areas where tea is produced, the different production methods, different brewing methods, and a daily practice of tea as a way of spiritual cultivation. So it works really beautifully with Reiki because there are daily practices with Reiki that bring about spiritual cultivation as well. And I love combining them together. So we're going to be focusing on the last line of the Reiki precepts tonight. And I'll just give a quick overview of what Reiki is. If you are joining for the first time, this is being recorded. It'll be broadcast on YouTube later. So for future viewers, Reiki means spiritually guided life force energy. And it is a healing method, a self-cultivation method. It promotes relaxation and well-being. It's never harmful, and it's not a religion. And it's a method of channeling energy. So channeling limitless life force energy down into the body. Uh, we often focus on what's known as the hara that's the Japanese name for the energy center. If you are familiar with Qigong and Chinese traditions, you'll know this area as the dantian, the lower dantian. And it's just a place where energy is stored, and then through cultivation, we're able to channel that energy outwards, whether to self-heal, to bring peace and relaxation and healing to ourselves, or to ripple that energy outward, or to provide hands-on healing to others, whether through hovering above the body or actual laying on of hands. It's a beautiful, beautiful system. And it was founded by Mikao Usui in the 1920s in Japan. He had a spiritual awakening on Mount Kurama. And one thing he came up with when he was, bringing together these experiences that he had, so he could teach those to other people, he came up with what he calls the Reiki Precepts. And they're really just guideposts for living a full and open-hearted life of intention. I'm going to read Mikao Usui's original precepts first. They're very short, but there's so much contained there. They're very aspirational. So Mikao Usui's precepts go like this. Just for today, I will not anger. I will not worry. I will be grateful. I will do my work honestly, and I will be kind. So that last line is what we're focusing on tonight. So the way that this session will go is we'll just do a little bit of talking about this last precept, or the final line of the precepts. I will share with you a different version of the precepts that are the ones I've sort of developed from Mikao Usui's original precepts, expanding them, adding a few more words, just to make it a little bit more relevant for me. I'll share that with you. We will have a guided meditation where we will explore kindness and compassion in a guided way. And then for 20 minutes, we're going to drink tea together. If you have tea tonight, or if you're watching in the future, you're welcome to drink tea along with the recording. And this will be a nice, quiet experience. I'll play some relaxing music. And these 20 minutes of tea drinking are just a time to sit together in quiet community and to reflect on the precept, or really anything that your soul is calling out to, just to have 20 minutes that are just for you. Welcome, Samuel. Hi. So let's talk a little bit about this last precept. Uh, First, I'll share the precepts as I like to recite them, and we can consider the two versions. They're very similar. So the way that I recite the precepts is like this. I say, just for today, I will choose patience over irritation. I will choose trust over fear. I will be grateful for my many blessings. I will do my work honestly and with integrity. And I will be kind and compassionate to myself and all beings. So a few more words than Mikao Usui's original precepts, but the idea of bringing compassion in as well as kindness really resonates with me. And this is something that I also bring into my tea practice, sending out compassion to others. In previous sessions, I've demonstrated a few different brewing methods. And one method in particular I find really helps with this sending out of kindness and compassion. And that is what's known as Gong Fu brewing. It's using a small pot and 3 small cups. That's something I practice even when I'm alone. And I will often place cups out as though I'm serving others, even though it's just me. But as I put out a cup, I might think to myself, may all those who need kindness and compassion receive it. And then send that out. Do the same thing with the second cup. And then for the third cup, that's for me. That's something we can't forget. We need to be kind and compassionate to ourselves. And it can be so difficult. So this precept, I will be kind. It's not just for others, it's also for ourselves. And in my experience, I think sometimes we're toughest on ourselves, especially if we are very kind-hearted, open, caring people. So much easier sometimes to send that loving energy to others rather than to direct it inward. So we're going to play with that a little bit tonight in our guided meditation. But first, I wanted to talk a little bit about this brewing method. This is known as the leaves in a bowl brewing method, probably one of the simplest ways to brew tea. And I brought a special bowl to show you. This bowl was my first tea bowl. I purchased this, I think it was maybe 10 years ago, and brought it with me everywhere on my travels. Going to the beach, I had my tea bowl, I had my leaves and my hot water, and it was just this dear, dear friend. And then one day, one of my cats knocked it off the counter. I'd gone out for a walk, I came in, it was in so many pieces on the floor. Oh, and it was devastating. Uh, but I found a kintsugi master, again, Saratani, who's in New York City, and contacted him, and he took a picture of the many pieces and said, "Can you help?" And he said, "Absolutely." So I sent him all the pieces, and a few months later, I had my bowl back. And as they say with kintsugi, it does become more beautiful for all its imperfections. He did flawless work, real gold, the actual Japanese urushi lacquer that comes from a tree. And to extract the lacquer used in this kind of repair, the tree does have to die. So it's a very, very precious type of repair. And I don't drink from this bowl often, but when I do, I try to bring that gratitude and that compassion into my heart. And that's why I brought this bowl out tonight. So I'll just give you a brief overview of how leaves in a bowl works as a brewing method. And this is a method you can make it a little more complicated if you like. Sometimes it's nice to have a separate bowl here for water. You can fill up your bowl. I'll just pretend I'm doing it for now. You can fill up your bowl to heat the bowl and then spin the bowl so the water goes into your waste water bowl. It heats up the bowl before you add tea to it. You can do that if you like. I'm keeping it very simple tonight. So what I'll be doing when we enjoy tea together after our guided meditation is just taking a few leaves, really just a pinch, Just a pinch of tea leaves, putting them directly in the bowl, then pouring water into the bowl and sipping around those leaves. So, so simple. And it's a way to connect visually with the tea leaves. As they swirl in the bowl, you can watch them start to open. And as you drink more infusions, the flavor and the aroma will change. You can feel the heat of the bowl in your palms. Just a really lovely brewing method, very accessible. You don't need a ton of teaware to brew like this. You can use just a simple, like a rice bowl. Those are really wonderful for getting started if you don't have a tea bowl like this. If you can find a bowl with a little bit of a foot on the bottom, that way when you're holding it, you don't burn your fingers. So that's just a little helpful thing with this method. So when we're having tea together, as you're watching, if you're watching my brewing, that is what I will be doing. So we're going to move on to our guided meditation. And in tonight's meditation, we're going to be blending 3 different types of meditation / energy work. So we're going to be combining one of the Reiki meditation techniques, which is called Joshin Kokyu Ho. I'll walk you through it if you don't know it. We'll also be adding in a version of the Buddhist metta meditation. And at the end, we'll be doing a little bit of energy work, pulsing on a ball of qi, which is something that's done in Qigong and some other energy cultivation traditions. I will walk you through all of this. And I like to call this meditation, this combination, widening the circle of compassion. So that's what we'll be working on tonight. So I invite you to get nice and comfortable in your chair. Just find a nice grounded position. You're welcome to also lie down if that feels comfortable to you. And now from where you are, just start by taking a few nice deep breaths. In through the nose and out through the mouth. Just settle in and arrive. Inhale. Then exhale. Inhale. And exhale. Now, if you haven't already, you're invited to close your eyes if you feel comfortable. And I'd like you to imagine that there is a beautiful glowing light right above the crown of your head. You can picture it shining a beautiful, vibrant white, or perhaps golden. But it's shining right there for you, radiant and warm. On an inhale, imagine that that light is being drawn down through the crown of your head, through the midline, and resting in your lower abdomen, your hara. And as you exhale, imagine that light growing brighter. And we'll do that again. Imagine drawing down that light from above, feeling it come down to your lower abdomen, growing brighter. And then with an exhale, imagine that light expanding. Continue at your own pace for a few breaths. drawing in the light, and then allowing it to radiate outwards throughout your body, past your body, and out into the universe. And just enjoy that sensation of warmth and goodness, peace and joy. This is Joshin Kokyuho, which is a Reiki meditation. And it's a beautiful meditation all on its own. But we can also bring other types of meditation into Joshin Kokyuho. So now, when you imagine that light descending into your body, imagine it stopping at your heart. So inhale, the light descends into your heart space and glows brighter. And as you exhale, the light ripples through your body, out past your body, and into the universe. You're welcome to put a hand on your heart if you like, to feel that connection. And just take a couple more nice breaths this way, nice and slow. Now we're going to explore widening our circle of compassion and kindness. I invite you to think about someone that you love unconditionally. It could be a person, it could be a pet. And hold the image of that loved one in your mind and in your heart. And the next time you breathe in and bring that brightness into your heart, when you exhale and send that out, send that to the person that you love. Do that a couple more times. Drawing in the light, allowing it to strengthen in your heart as you exhale and send that kindness and compassion outward. This should feel really good. Next, we'll widen that circle a little wider. This time, I invite you to think of someone in your life who maybe is a bit neutral. Could be someone you see but maybe don't have a strong connection with, and you neither love nor dislike them. Could be a coworker, maybe a family member you don't see frequently, a cashier at the grocery store. Now we'll do the same thing. Breathe that light into your heart space and send that kindness and compassion to that person. And just observe in your body how that feels. It might feel a little trickier, and that's okay. Take another couple rounds of this. And just observe. And now we'll widen that circle even further. And if at any time you feel uncomfortable with this, please back off. Otherwise, treat this as an experiment. I invite you to bring to mind someone you dislike. It doesn't have to be someone you loathe with all your being. It can just be someone that you don't have the kindest of feelings towards, for whatever reason. And the reason doesn't matter. And now, see what happens when you draw in that light to your heart space. And then you send it to that person. Is there a tightening in your body? Do you feel resistance? Do you feel a sensation of this person doesn't deserve it? Whatever you feel is just fine. It's just an observation. Now we'll work our way back. We've expanded that compassion. We're going to draw it back inward. So bring to mind that person you have neutral feelings for, or maybe someone else. Could be different from the first time. And just send out that warmth and kindness. Imagine that it's reaching them. Now we'll bring the circle in closer and think about that loved one, or perhaps another loved one, someone you care for unconditionally. And just breathe into it. and see how this feels different from when the circle was wider. And now we're going to bring the circle even closer. And we're going to send that love to ourselves. So I invite you to take your hands, bring them in front of your heart space, palms facing. Have a few inches in between. As you inhale, imagine that beautiful light traveling down through your head into your hands and gathering between your palms. As you exhale, imagine that energy traveling back up your arms to the crown of your head. Inhale the energy down through your arms and between your palms. And then exhale that energy back upwards again. So you've got a little bit of a conduit, an ebb and flow. And just do that a few more times and enjoy this sensation. You may feel a tingling between your palms or warmth or not. That's all just fine. On your next inhale, when you draw that energy down through your crown, through your arms and into your hands, between your palms, bring your palms a little closer together and that out a little wider. Imagine there's a ball of energy between your hands and you're just pulsing at the edges of that ball of energy. If you feel resistance between your palms, that's a good place to stop. And imagine this beautiful ball of light getting brighter and stronger. This is your life force energy. And it's full of love and kindness and compassion. It can be sent to anyone you like. But right now, we're going to bring it to ourselves. Let's bring your hands a little bit closer so they're hovering just a couple inches apart. And imagine that ball of light glowing so brightly it could light up the room. And now turn your palms towards your heart center. And on an inhale, draw that energy right into your heart space. Hands over your heart. And just enjoy this feeling of warmth and kindness and compassion for your unique, precious self. Now we'll bring our hands into Gasho in our chest, a prayer position. Take a deep breath and exhale. From here, we'll move on to our tea meditation. This will be our quiet time to process anything that feels right, or just to sit in peaceful silence with whatever tea, whatever beverage. And I will see you again in 20 minutes. All right, you can make your way back. I hope that was restorative for you.